tower. Information. Mike 0049er Zulu. Wind.
Truckee ground, Twin Cessna 421 Lima Golf. On the FBO ramp with information Mike for a VFR departure will be southeastbound.
Choose 421 Lima Golf, Truckee ground, wind 210, 12, gust 17, altimeter 3024. Do you want runway 20 or would you want 29er?
We'll take 20 for 421 Lima Golf.
421 Lima Golf, thank you sir. Runway 20, taxi via Alpha Golf, cross runway 29er on Golf.
Alpha Golf, cross 29 on Golf for 421 Lima Golf. Okay, we leveled off at 17.5 off of Truckee. I was going to go a little higher, but the winds up higher don't really favor the most efficient trip here, so I'm going to stay at 17.5 for now. And I haven't done anything. I'm going to set this up now for cruise, and I did let this KFC 200 autopilot capture altitude, and it worked perfectly. I don't know if you can see it, but we're right at 17.5, and it came up and made a nice capture. And this KFC 200 is working really good in this airplane. So I got the engines at 30 inches, actually 32 and a half, which is the top of the green. And I'm going to bring them back to 31. That's just where I've always cruised at. I always take my time doing this because I like to get them right on the money. There's 31 inches, and need just a little bit on the props. They're set up pretty nice, but I'm just going to pull them back just a touch. That's 1900 RPM. Now I'm going to turn the prop sync on, and these prop syncs in these airplanes can be, see, my power got off there a little bit. I think you got to really take your time setting up the power. Make sure it's exactly where you want it and that it stays. Okay, so 19, 31, 19. And then, now I don't just flip the prop sync on. I like to match them up. The right prop's moving just a little bit faster. So I'm going to bring it back just a touch. until I get that meter where I want it. And I also do it by ear. And then I'm going to flip the prop sync on, and you're probably going to see it wobble a little bit, and then we'll just kind of fine tune it. Once it's locked in, there it is, going through its little gyration here. And then I'm going to just reset this just a little bit. Once that prop sync gets locked on, I feel like it does a good job of holding it. There we go, I like that. Looks pretty good. Left engine needs to touch. Okay, you can see how the prop sync now is locked on. We got 31 inches, 1900 RPM. Now, we're gonna go to the fuel flows, and I'm gonna bring them right back to about 20 gallons an hour. Again, this is something that you can't really be in a hurry. Bring them back slow. And I always take a cross-reference on my cylinders as I bring these back. And I did look in the book, and I always cross-check. I've flown all these a lot, so I kind of know the power settings and the fuel flows, but I always cross-check the book and see what the advertised fuel flows are, and make sure. That's one way we look at these engines, to make sure they're set up right, and make sure they're pretty close. On the way up here, they were real close, and so I get this glare right in my face. Never in a hurry to do this. There's about 20 on the left. Comes it right. Fine tune them. Pretty close, 20 inches. My engine instruments all look pretty good. My temps look good on the cylinders. It sounds good. That's another thing, you know. I like to listen to these engines too, and they sound good. So I'm going to see if I can look at this. So we're indicating right at 160 knots indicated. Probably a little warmer than ISA. And let's see if I can use my calculator here. Get a true airspeed. So we're at 17.5. And the altimeter is 3024, 30.24. Outside air temperature is 0 C. And we're doing I call it 157. That's 209 true, according to this calculator. Props have come up a little bit. Yeah. And the cylinders are showing about 165. On the temperature, that's Celsius. That's 330, which is fine with me. Everything is matched up nice. Engines sound good. Doing 200, almost 210 knots true airspeed at 17.5, and hopefully you can see on the video how matched up everything is. Another thing we look at is the throttles and the props and the mixtures. You know, it's very difficult to get these matched up perfectly. I often wonder when these were brand new if these were all matched up perfectly, and I'm guessing they probably weren't. But it's not uncommon to see these way off. This one's pretty tight, you know, and it'd be very tough to get these matched up more than what they are through all ranges of power settings. But I'd say these are doing pretty good. So And then let's look at the cabin. So we're cruising at 17.5. I got 17.5 set. That's about a 5,000 foot cabin. We got a 5,000 foot cabin, and we're at max, almost max diff. Let me dial it down just a little bit. So the pressurization's looking good. And if I've said it once, I've probably said it 10 times, maybe 20, how much of a pleasure this airplane is to fly when you get them set up like this. Big roomy cockpit, lots of room in the back, a lot of utility, and just a really, really solid airplane for the money, in my opinion. It's a lot of airplane, a lot of utility. And this airplane has old avionics in it. It's got a King HSI, a King attitude indicator, all analog gauges. It's got a 530. It's got some digital fuel flow and some supplemental, not primary electronic engine instruments. The original analogs are in there. Upgraded transponders, probably the original radar, maybe an upgraded radar. And this KFC 200 autopilot. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of Garmin avionics and all the upgrades, but I'm not sure you can hold altitude any better than this. So while you have all the upgrades you could ever hope for in Garmin, and you've seen 55 Romeo Lima before, I always refer to that airplane because it has the panel that's everybody wants. But I mean, I've flown this setup for a long time, and it's pretty nice. And as you can see, this autopilot is just right on the money. Now, flying instrument approaches, if you're flying a lot of instrument approaches, a lot of IFR, the reliability of this autopilot, you'd have to really understand it, be prepared for it, maybe not to work, and a lot of limitations on instrument procedures. I'm not in any way suggesting that it's anywhere close to being a Garmin 600 autopilot for this airplane, but I mean, for cruising like this, it's doing a pretty good job. But that's one thing that adds a lot of value to these 421s is the capability to upgrade them. So you get a good low time airplane, good pedigree, good logs, complete, no damage, reasonable. I don't call replacing a rudder or an elevator that got dinged up in a hangar rash, I don't call that damage history. In fact, I think that's a real disservice we do as an industry to get beat up airplanes over just common little boo-boos that they get, and then everybody wants to beat them up because now it has damage history. I don't believe that. When things are replaced with new, or even overhauled or reconditioned, and there's no damage on it, the airplane shouldn't suffer a devaluation for that. And so I don't consider that kind of stuff damage history, but there are some things you got to look at, maybe that they are, and that would devalue the airplane. But these 421s, a good value in the market, and like I said, maybe I didn't say, but I haven't really done a video in a 421 cruising. I don't have any wing cameras hooked up because I'm going, Truckee to Long Beach, and I don't want to have a camera out there the whole time. If you want to see some cool video from a wing camera, you can go back and watch the other video I did on this airplane. I did a local flight and I had a wing camera on it. It turned out pretty good. I don't know what else to say. I've said it all about these 421s, and I don't want to beat it into the ground too hard. If you have any questions about them, or you're considering buying one, upgrading it, operating it, I can't I can't say enough good things about them. Okay, wanted to go, I didn't really touch on the book performance here. So this particular airplane, talking about weight and balance, has 2135 useful load. And you figure it carries more than 200 gallons of gas, but just figure 200 gallons of gas. We're burning 40 an hour right now. So 4 hours would be 160. So it'd be 4 hours plus a VFR reserve, 200 gallons. I don't know too many people want to spend that much time really in any airplane. These are comfortable airplanes, but 4 hours is a long time. So, but let's use that number. So you got 4 hours. I'm going against a headwind right now. I'm doing 190 knots. I was doing about 230 on the way up here. So let's just use 200 knots as an average ground speed. Let's make it a 3-hour flight. So that's 600 nautical miles in 3 hours on 120 gallons of gas. You want an hour reserve, so you got 160 gallons of fuel. 160 gallons of fuel based on the calculator here. 160. That's let's just call it 1,000 pounds of fuel. That leaves you with 1135 useful load. So four 200 pounders is 800 plus 300 pounds of bags. And 3 hours, 600 nautical miles. So those are the numbers. Okay, performance, book performance. Let's get over here to performance. Cruise performance. So I'm at 17.5. Right at 0. So we'll just use 20,000 feet. 31 inches, 1900 RPM. That's pretty close to, should be -5, we're at 0, would be ISA. So that's 65% power the way I have it set up. 218 true is what they say. I'm getting 209. But this is 20 and I'm at 17.5. So that accounts for some of it. And they're calling 231 pounds per hour. See what that equates to. And 231 pounds would be 40 gallons, 39.552. So it's right on the money on fuel flow per the book. Just to look at 15,000, it's the same fuel flow because it's the same power setting. 231. And they're calling it 210 at 15. No, that's not right. 208. So, I mean, it's pretty tight on book performance. The way I have it set up, extrapolated between 15 and 20, which are the altitudes in the book. I'd say that's pretty good. It's pretty close on a performance. Adjusted for temperature and altitude, it's like the book is right on the money. And so there you have it. This particular airplane is achieving book performance, speed, true airspeed, and fuel flow based on altitude and temperature and power settings. It's pretty good. That's pretty good for a airplane that's 40 plus years old. Okay, it's getting dark. I think I'm going to run out of daylight, so I'm going to wrap this video up. again, this is just to show, I've never shown a 421 on a cross country.
What else are you descending to?
Lima Golf's descending for 3,500.
Roger.
So I wanted to go through the performance. I'm a big fan of 421s, and it's nice to show actual performance, you know, true airspeed. If you go up higher, I probably should have said with the 220 knots at 23 or 24,000 feet is what the book says. And we saw book speeds, as I mentioned, at 17.5, so I think it's reasonable to conclude that you would achieve book speeds at 25 as well. Anyway, I just wanted to show how these airplanes perform, and I haven't touched anything except the power, and everything's pretty much locked in the way I have set it up. So sometimes people say these are busy airplanes, and they can be, but they also can be pretty easy to work with. So hope you enjoyed the video. Again, if you have any questions about 421s, thinking about buying one, doing some nice upgrades to them, I can help you with that. Just leave me a message on YouTube, give me an email, phone call. Happy to talk to you. Thanks for watching. Gears down, 3 green.
30. Southwest 3311, Long Beach Tower, 930, clear to land. Clear to land, 30, Southwest 3311.
Got the run.
Number 1 Lima Golf for 926 left, clear to land. Make sure to approach your Fable for traffic.
Clear to land. Clear to land, 26 left. We'll make short approach, 421 Lima Golf. Okay, he gave us a short approach.
Lima, Papa, contact,
Now I can go to flaps full because I'm coming in on a tight
career track 32, hold my 26 left, making
final.
Career track 382, Long Beach Tower,
And my speed is right at blue line, believe it or not. Worked out nice. And man, I have not hardly trimmed this airplane at all. I turn the autopilot off. That's the altitude warnings. Okay, now I can start reducing my power as we come in. A little high. Okay. Speed's perfect. Gears down, 3 green. Flaps are in the land. And Southwest is out of my way. All right.
Traffic 1 o'clock, low less than 1 mile.
This worked out perfect. And I'm bringing the power back now, but that's okay because I got to bring it back to land. But I never added power. Nice bright LED lights in this thing. Comes the power back. All the way.
Long Beach Tower, Cessna 51594 over Queensgate at 1,900. Request inbound for a landing.
Wasn't my smoothest landing, but
Number 51594, Long Beach Tower, 926 left traffic.
I can bring the mixtures and props up. And some people might argue that pump's coming off, flaps are coming up.
Career track 382.
Strobe lights are coming off.
Close traffic approved, 26 left. Lima Golf exit here, say intention.